Hi guys, so I don't know how long this is gonna work because the lighting hasn't been great. I've had to try using my ring light, which means that the lighting is going to end up varying. However, I really wanted to get this video done because I have already started making progress with it and I wanted to just concentrate on that. So, as you can probably see from the title, the aim of this is to have a look at all the series that I started in 2019 and would like to finish in 2020. So I've gone through this through how I read them in 2019 via Goodreads. So I'm going to start because this could end up taking a very long time. So I started A Court of Thorns and Roses at the very beginning of 2019. Now, I had never heard of Sarah J Maas before. I had never heard of A Court of Thorns and Roses. Never heard of any of the ACOTAR series. I didn't even know what ACOTAR was. Every time somebody had mentioned it on BookTube, I was like... I ended up thinking, right, if I want to try and widen my horizon a bit and start reading something a little bit more different than just vampires, or romantic contemporaries, then maybe this is a good place to start. I fell in love with this book and then I purchased A Court of Mist and Fury, which is the sequel, and I don't know what happened, but I looked at the size of the book, and I think that was what did it for me. I looked at the size of the book and I just thought, oh my god, I'm never going to get through this. So when I ended up actually getting round to wanting to read it, I decided I was going to get the audio book because Scribd had it, and I would listen to it while I was in the bath, I would listen to it while I was getting changed. And then readathons came along and I started taking part in those, and it didn't seem to fit any of the prompts, so it went on hold. And I think A Court of Mist and Fury, collectively, from when I properly started it, even with the gap in between to when I finished it, I think it was probably a space of like 4 months I had read it in, which made a massive difference compared to this one, which was like a week. Now, it wasn't that I wasn't enjoying the book, it was just that I just wouldn't pick it up. And again, I don't know why, because I enjoyed it when I did read it, but I just wouldn't pick it up. Getting the motivation to actually listen to the audiobook was sort of... However, I did finish it and I was hooked again, and I was so happy to be back in the world, and I ended up rushing then into A Court of Wings and Ruin. And it's happened again, guys. Court of Wings and Ruins, I started maybe November 2019 and I don't know what's happened. I've had ample opportunity to listen to the audiobook, to sit and read it, and I just haven't. So my motivation must have gone again, because I've read other books in between that. I think I actually put it down for the Believe-a-thon, which was hosted by How to Train Your Gavin, and it's not that it's a bad series because I love it when I'm reading it, just reading it, that's the problem. On to the next one is Laini Taylor's Strange the Dreamer. Again, this was another one. I was just getting back into finding my passion for books again. I was spending a lot of my time during breaks at work and things like that, watching Book Roast, Jada Ray Reads. This one kept coming up, and I remember thinking, okay, well, I've got a free trial on Audible, so maybe I should just give this a go because it's quite a chunk of a book. I found myself listening to it, and then when I had a chance to actually sit down, I'd take my headphones out and I'd physically read it. There were also times where I would sit with my headphones in, listening to it and just following it along. I really, really enjoyed the book. I found myself laughing out loud, which is really strange for me. But I did. There was just so much sass in certain parts, and I really enjoyed it. I think I explained in the book haul, I recently purchased Muse of Nightmares, which is the second. I think it's just a duology, I think. So I purchased Muse of Nightmares, and I think I also explained the fact that the reason I held off was because this was bought off Book Depository, and the original listing for it showed the, I think it's the UK hardback edition, which is just dark blue with a big dragonfly on the front. Now obviously, when it turned up and it was this cover, I wasn't angry at all because it is a beautiful, beautiful edition. However, my concern was that I wasn't going to be able to find Muse of Nightmares in a matching edition, and then I was going to have to replace this at some point. Next was Ink. I don't know what this is doing with the lighting because I'm going to try not to hold it up so much. It was a beautiful cover. It was sort of a cover boy, but at the same time, again, I had heard it mentioned, but it was only mentioned in passing. Nobody has made a really big deal about this book. But I absolutely fell in love with it. After reading it, I did have a bit of a book hangover. I needed time to digest it all. I cried, good tears, sad tears. It made me feel everything that I needed to feel reading this book. I think Alice Broadway is just incredible for it. However, again, I haven't actually purchased the next 3 books I think there is now, because I think it hit me so hard with this book that I was scared that the next book wasn't going to be as good. I might continue because the book itself was so good. I might continue for that reason, but at the same time, for that reason I may not, because I don't want the second one to ruin anything for me if it does. So we'll have to wait and see on that one. The jury's out on that one at the moment. Now, I said I was making progress, which I have. I wasn't going to include this, but then I figured no, because I am. I'm doing this. This is what this is for. So, I'd say, I think it was March, maybe April, I read Shatter Me. Again, this is a very, very shiny book, so I'm going to put it down. I then very quickly after read Siege and Storm. I think it was literally the next book I read. Shadow and Bone I loved, like loved. Siege and Storm I hated so much. I kept reading because I just couldn't wait for it to be over. And this is what I mean by loving the first book so much and not wanting to carry on. My main goal was to just get the Grishevers out of the way so that I could get to Six of Crows and Cookie Kingdom, because I'd heard amazing things about those. So, yeah, so Shadow and Bone was amazing for me. I actually, last week, I finished Ruin and Rising. It was almost like a little kick up the backside to get it done, because I am going to be buddy reading Six of Crows with Kirsty, which I should have started last week, but I didn't. Less said about that the better. So, the next one was Illuminating. This was my try something different. I didn't think it was going to be my kind of thing. My partner kept referring to it as the Captain's Log because of the mixed media. I found it so easy to read, so quick to read because of the mixed media, and I found myself getting sucked in, and I just felt like I was just there. I felt like I was on the ship with them, reading the updates, the data logs, the conversations, emails between different captains and sergeants. It was brilliant, and it made me think that I would maybe enjoy some more sci-fi, and again broaden my horizons with what I read. Next was Shatter Me. Now, I got this because I'd heard about it and I was umming and ahhing, and then there was a Groupon deal where you got like the box set of the first 4 books for, I think it was £10. I bought it, I got really excited, read the first book, loved it, and again, I don't know what's wrong with me, but I just haven't got to the next one. I think I got a little bit baffled by the fact that they have the set where they've got all the eyes open, and then they've also got like ones in between each book, so like they've got 1 and then they've got 1.5, which then has the eye closed, and then they've got 2 and 2.5, and I don't know whether I have to read those before I read the next one. And it all started to seem to get really complicated for somebody that just wanted to read a good collection. It got very, very complicated, and I'm not 100% sure what I'm going to do about it. I don't know whether I'm going to look into reading the 0.5s in between, or whether I'm just going to skip those and head straight to the next book. We are nearly at the end. Now, Schwab was not somebody I had really read throughout the year last year, until I bought City of Ghosts. It was my first, I think, according to Goodreads, I think it was my first book of 2019, and it was incredible. I love it so much, to the point where as soon as I found out that Tunnel of Bones was coming out, I pre-ordered it. It came the day before it was released in shops, and then I read it in less than 24 hours. And I love that as well. It was just such a good, so good. And I was so looking forward to the 3rd one coming out. But then that spurred me on, thinking, oh, more Schwab. So I then moved on to A Dark Shade of Magic. Now, there's a lot of hype with The Dark Shade of Magic. I'm not sure whether it's the quirky romance side to it or what. I enjoyed the book, I just didn't get the hype. I didn't get massively excited by the entire thing, but it was a good read. I do actually now own the rest of the set, which I do plan on buddy reading with Claire. We've got a massive Schwab list to continue this year. The next one is Stalking Jack the Ripper. Now, this seemed to come out of nowhere for me. I think it was when Capturing the Devil came out that I heard a lot about that coming out. I wasn't 100% sold on this. I clearly watch far too many crime programs because I figured it out probably about 2/3 in. Which might be quite late for some people depending on how you got on with the book, but yeah, I figured it out, which sort of took the shine out of it towards the end. However, I still bought the next one because Dracula, vampires again. So I continued with that one and I loved it. I was sold. I just, oh God. This one, I absolutely hated Creswell with a passion. Like, Kirsty was getting updates from me, like shouting about him. And the Prince Dracula book was just, I fell in love with him so much, and the relationship with Audrey is just spot on. And then the last of the series that I started is Nevernight. I can't stop smiling about this. I really didn't think this was something that I was going to enjoy. I didn't think Assassins was going to be a thing for me. I didn't think that I would enjoy blood, guts and gore, but my God, J. Christoph sold it to me. He... I bought God's Grave. I bought Dark Dawn. And then I bought Dark Dawn in hardback with the black sprayed edges, and it was signed. And then for Christmas somebody asked me what I wanted, and they've bought me the Illuminating reprints of Nevernight and God's Grave with the black sprayed edges and signed. And that comes in March, because I loved this book so much. And even though I haven't read God's Grave yet, I feel like I could just gush about this constantly. I love that sort of like kick-ass leading girl. I thoroughly enjoyed just being thrown in. That was another thing I enjoyed. It wasn't like, oh, you know, these little bits happened, then this happened, and then this happened. It was just like bam, straight in with the action. God's Grave is one of my next reads. I listened, because at the time I was struggling quite a bit with getting a few headaches every now and then, so I ended up listening on Scribd to the audiobook that they got on there, and it was great. I mean, the guy who narrated it gave it his all. It was just him, and he was doing all the parts here, there and everywhere. It was amazing. So I think that I'll be doing that again with God's Grave, because it's the same bloke that narrates. So those are the series that I started in 2019 that I want to finish in 2020. I know I haven't really given any explanation as to what the series are about. If you would like another video that goes into a bit more depth, then just let me know in the comments. I'd be more than happy to explain some more. Have you tried any of these? Have you started any of the series and not finished it yet? Have you finished any of these series, and what should I try and prioritise? Like I said, God's Grave is probably going to be one of my next reads, but anything else that you think I should prioritise after that will be highly appreciated, because I am at my depth now. So I hope you have a really good day, and I will see you soon, probably in the vlog coming up at the end of the week. So if you are enjoying this, please give it a thumbs up. That would be much appreciated. Have a great day. Bye.